All right, we're live. I'm here with Ashley Schriefer, the girl I went to high school with a long time ago.
All right, we're live.
Oh, hold on. I have to mute.
You're with.
I had my YouTube channel open in the browser, so then I started hearing myself. But anyway, me and Ashley went to high school together. We're still friends on Facebook. And as some of you know who are watching, which I don't think anybody's watching this live because I couldn't advertise it. But because I'm on a social media hiatus. But if anybody does watch it later, we're about 7 days into a social media hiatus, and I've gotten 3 friends to join me. Ashley is one of them. So I'll let Ashley say hello.
Hi, everyone. I've gotten 0 friends to join. So you're ahead of me.
Did you try to get some people to join the social media hiatus?
I did. I don't think anyone was, I think everyone thought it was a good idea. Like it sounded like it was a good idea, but didn't follow through.
I can see that now. You're like, hey guys, I'm going to go on a social media hiatus. You want to join me? That's a great idea. No.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
No. So when you said you think they thought it was a good idea, do they think it's a generally good idea? Or do they think it's a good idea for you?
Well, one girl said, maybe I'll join you. But then I'm not going to go tracking these people down. You know, it's like, you want to, like, I just did it. You know, I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to, and maybe she did do it, but maybe how am I supposed to know? Because I don't really talk to her.
Yeah.
I don't really talk to her except on social media.
You don't have her phone number?
No, I could have, but I said, reach out to me if you feel like you want to. And
yeah,
you know,
well, maybe she did and you don't know.
I don't know.
That is funny. What are we like? What's today? January 7th. So it's day 7 of no social media, which, by the way, I don't know to what extent you're doing it, but for me, it's like, I signed out of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I signed out of everything that's social media except like anything professional. Like LinkedIn, I don't really care. I don't use it. So like I could stay logged in or whatever. But anything like social and like there's conversations being happened on the website, like Facebook, Twitter. But then Reddit is a weird one because I signed out of Reddit, but I've still been like looking at it every now and then. So I don't know if that's cheating, but I'm not participating.
So I needed to send someone a message due to planning something, and I didn't have a way to send it to them. I just figured, oh, let me go to Facebook Messenger, which I still have because it's the only way I communicate with certain people. Yeah. And we just use it as like a text message. So I don't really know what they're up to. I just know I could ask them a question directly. So basically, so I could use that. Yeah, I used that Facebook Messenger, but I needed something. So I had to go into the Facebook itself, and something came up immediately. Like one of the girls that I follow that like so closely, a huge announcement came up immediately. And it was like that she was having her 3rd baby. It's a baby girl. She has 2 boys. It was like pretty big. Like it's pretty big. And I wouldn't have known unless I was on social media because I don't keep in touch with her that much via text or phone calls. And I saw it. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I saw it. Blah, blah, blah. And this was like days ago she posted it, maybe the 1st. And I hadn't seen it till what? It was like 2 days ago. So like the 4th, maybe I didn't see it. So it was 4 days had gone by and I was like, whoa. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on social media. It took a second to kick in.
Yeah, it's kind of changed the way people do things because, I mean, my grandma of all people, there have been times where I'd be like, oh, I didn't know about that. And she's like, oh, I said it on Facebook. And it's like, that doesn't mean I saw it. You know, but a lot of people, they just think if they announce something on Facebook and you're their friend, you must have seen it. It's kind of expected. So I do wonder how that's changing the way people just think about each other.
Same thing happened with my mother actually yesterday. She did it twice. After I told her I'm not on Facebook, she did it again. Just subconsciously, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's become the norm. It's like, well, same thing. Like if there's like a big news story and you don't know about it, it's like, but it's all over the news. because
Yeah.
they just expect you watch the news or somebody you know watches the news. But even I've noticed since doing the social media hiatus, whatever, I don't actually go to news websites.
No. What do you actually call it?
I call it a social media hiatus. What?
Mm-mm.
What are you calling it?
The vacation.
Oh, it's a social media vacation. Well, it's not a true like again for me, it's like I host a meetup, so I have a meetup that I'm hosting this Wednesday. So I text messaged a bunch of friends, and I asked a few of them to go on social media and post about it, so that the people from the group will actually go. And I'm thinking, like, aren't I technically using social media through proxy if I do that? And I think,
Yeah, it's kind of defeats the purpose, maybe.
yeah, but it's I need to make sure people go to the meetup, so it's whatever.
It's, I guess, whatever you think of social media as. And that
Well,
gets back to, what we were talking about with like attention whores, and are they using it for social media or just for attention?
yeah, so let's talk because we're in a group. Obviously there's people listening too, but we're in a group chat on Signal together. So it's me, you, and two others, and one of them, I could say Brian. Yeah, I don't think Brian will care. Brian, well, we had some disagreements on kind of what social media is. Remember the whole real life conversation? I won't even get into that. But it made me realize that I think of social media as a place you go to have conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he thinks of social media as a place where you go to read about what's happening. And he had accused me, and I think you said you've gotten similar criticism. He had accused me of being, well, he didn't say attention whore, but he said that I love getting attention and that I post on social media because I love attention.
I think he actually did call you an attention whore.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't remember. I remember the word attention whore coming up, but I thought you maybe brought that up because you said you get similar. That's what people say about you.
Think about all the girls with the selfies and the duck face, and they're clearly not doing that to start up conversation.
Do you post pictures like that?
I used to.
But do you now? Like, what do you use social media for now?
To keep in touch and share, like, I guess the timeline of my life with people. So my aunt who lives in Colorado, my dad and my stepmother, my sister, my nephews, they all live in South Carolina. I have, I actually really only have a small amount of family where I live now. And
you're still in,
which is Long Island. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Island, okay.
So it's like I share everything with them, but I don't even want to share it really sometimes now. Like I feel very liberated on this vacation.
So who calls you an attention whore?
My fiance.
Okay, so what are you doing that makes him think you're being?
So I'll give you an example. When I posted that I was going on a hiatus.
Hold on, sorry, Brian's watching. Brian goes. He said, "Are you bossing the audience around?" But that's because I said in the group chat, not in the group chat, I said in the YouTube chat, I said, "Say hi if you're here." So we got Brian watching. Cool. Thank you for actually tuning in because he said he wouldn't. Remember?
Mm-hmm. And then he told me what to do.
Yeah, I think he guilted you into it. I think you guilted him into it. Anyway, so go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So I made a status on Facebook about going on a social media hiatus for the month of January. Who is in with me? And some people commented, maybe a man, maybe a female. I don't know if that's anything to do with it. Kind of, yeah, because I think if it was all female, I wouldn't have gotten this response. So I happened to write to one of them, or I didn't write to anyone specifically. I generally wrote DM me, which means direct message me. And he wrote, he texted me and wrote, "What do you mean DM you? You're just telling people to DM you now?" Like that. He took it. He's like, that's, you're being an attention whore.
Is that your best impression of? of him?
Yes. So you're being an attention whore. Like you're just posted that to get attention, basically. Like I'm not actually doing it for the sake of doing it as an experiment, but I just want to have attention. Like
Okay, so now,
so basically the opposite of my intention
right.
is what he's getting.
So now that's an interesting example because it's literally the thing. It's strange because you posted a status about um, going off of social media, and you got called a social media attention whore because of it. Are there other examples, just in general, from before that?
Let's see. Maybe if I, even I think it's more of a guy thing when I do it with guys. He thinks that I'm being like, or if I post something on Snapchat or like my Instagram story that's a little revealing, I'm being an attention whore, which maybe it could be like a stride of confidence that day that I'm feeling myself in the sunlight, like
Let's
like
reword
why
it.
and I guess it's in moderation. If you're doing it all the time, yeah, I could say it, but if I'm doing it here or there, I wouldn't really say that qualifies as an attention whore.
Well, here's how I qualify. Like, are you doing it so that you receive attention, or are you doing it so that you receive validation?
Yeah, I guess that it depends on the intention. Like, are you like at the beach and there's like a sick sunset and you just happen to be looking good that day and like you take a picture and post it, whatever.
You want people to be like, "Girl, you look good," blah blah blah.
Or maybe you want people to comment, yeah, or maybe you feel good. Maybe you just lost a couple of pounds, or maybe I lost a couple of pounds. Maybe I just got my hair done. I want to show it off, or maybe I want to promote my hairstylist friend.
Right. Yeah.
So those are all different factors, but the one that sticks out is the attention whore, which isn't just him. It's a lot of people, obviously.
Yeah.
Brian included.
You just got called out, Brian. So, well, because I don't know what people mean. I mean, it's twice this month that somebody had told me that I like attention. And it's like, my take on it is I'm pretty neutral. Well, I don't dislike attention. Actually, I don't like too much attention. But I don't focus on attention. That's why I resent the idea that I'm an attention whore. Hold on. What? He says, why am I hiding? Can he not see me at all when I talk? That's weird. Give me 1 second. For some reason, I guess because I was clicking on your portrait so I could always see you when we're talking, it was always showing you the entire video. So even when I was talking, if you were making weird faces, sorry, it just streamed it.
Oh
well. But anyway, I resent the idea of like attention whore because it's like I'm pretty neutral to the attention part. That's not the primary reason that I post on social media at all. If I get good attention, of course I don't mind it. If I get bad attention, I don't love that. But I think that's just normal and secondary. Primarily, I do it for the conversation. Like I want to have a dialogue, or I want to persuade somebody, or I want them to persuade me. So I don't know, but it's interesting because Brian's not the only one who brought it up with me. So
I guess so. Since I've been on social media for, I want to say, I don't know, 10 years maybe. Let's just round it off.
Yeah.
Could be more, could be a little less. I think that my focus of social media has shifted. I definitely use it differently than I used to do it. So that makes me wonder, about younger generations, older generations, different, I guess everyone uses it differently.
Yeah,
Lewis might,
in 10 years.
Lewis might use it in a way that I don't use it, and that's why he sees it that way. Maybe he uses it for attention, and he sees what I do, maybe excessive, and then horror gets added onto it.
Yeah. Well,
not in like a poor way, but
I think a lot of people project because I do the same thing. I truly do use social media for conversation, and then somebody will post something on their wall, which will show up on my newsfeed, and then I'll comment on it. And I don't necessarily agree with the article that they share. So I'm not commenting at them, I'm commenting at the article. And then I'll get a private message. It's like, dude, don't post if you have a disagreement, private message me. Don't post it right to my wall like that, you know? And it's like, in a way, I just projected onto them that they're using social media the same way I do. But they're all, you know what I mean? Like we're doing it to each other. So I do wonder when, you know, your fiance or Brian or whatever see these behaviors and they go, oh, well, you're doing it for these reasons. I think what's really there is the acknowledgement. If I was to behave this way, it would be for these reasons. Does that make sense? So I think if your fiance or if Brian were to post like we do, well, I don't know how you post really. I post probably way more than you.
You post, for some reason, yours comes up all the time too. So like I could see 4 posts with it, like 2 hours of with like, is that that could be mean a lot to some people. It could be not a lot.
What's your how many friends do you have on Facebook?
I think like 1,700 maybe.
Jesus, I have like 1,000. I thought I that's like 1,000 too many. But and how many do you interact with regularly?
Define regularly.
Like you and I will, you know, sometimes you'll like my stuff or I'll comment on your stuff.
Yeah, well then there goes the like algorithm. I don't know, like could mean a lot of different things. Like I might have to search for like interact. I guess me. I don't know. Maybe 100. I don't know. 100 is that a lot? Is that not a lot? I guess that's a small percentage out of that many. I guess a lot of them could be acquaintances that we've met on trips, people that I've met through my fiance. So just like, oh, we met once at a party and I got sent a friend request. So now I have a new friend on Facebook.
Right. No, because I only asked because I've had people say my stuff wasn't showing up on their wall, but then I'll message them on Messenger and we haven't talked in many months. And then all of a sudden they only like they see my post at the top because I post a lot.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the longer you don't interact with anybody, or like the longer you don't interact with me, the less you're going to see my stuff. And it's okay. But yeah, Brian just said same thing happens with his wife because he's not on Facebook, but his wife is, and she sees all of my posts. So, well, I guess she hasn't seen any for the last week. Nobody has. But no, I get that a lot. Like they'll send me a screenshot and they'll be like, dude, actually, my friend recorded a video of his iPhone and he was scrolling on his news feed. And I was like maybe 8 posts in a row before it went to somebody else. So I was like, cool.
You know, it would be interesting if Facebook had the a way to notify you that, oh, like you haven't heard from John in a while, you know, check up on him. Why don't you check? You like, you know what I'm saying? Like
that, the wording will matter. It's like, make sure your friend isn't dead. Although you never know, like Facebook knows enough about you that they could probably kind of guess that you might have been kidnapped or something. I don't even know. They should.
Like the pattern, right?
Yeah. You're like, wow, you haven't logged in. Like I would be surprised if that feature exists. I'm telling you right now, my friends are getting notified about me because Facebook is so confused that my account just stopped posting for 7 days. It's so confused.
You logged out. I didn't log out. I just deleted my apps.
Yeah, I logged out and deleted my apps. And, you know, if I go to facebook.com right now, I'm logged out, but it says like, these are the accounts that you have in your cookies or whatever. And it says I have over 80 notifications already. I'm like, Jesus. So when I come back, and that's only 7 days. So, and I know some of them are Facebook groups, so it's like, it doesn't really matter. But I have a feeling it's going to be like 300 at least come February.
I'm scared. So I think one of the reasons why I've been so good with this is also because I stopped drinking also January 1st. So
oh, wow. How's that been?
It's pretty good. I feel really motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
and
replaced it with anything else?
granola.
Granola. So now you get a craving for alcohol and you just eat a granola bar.
I make my own granola.
Oh, that's very
So
cool.
I think that it's like therapy. Like instead of, I used to actually make, sweets, cookies, brownies, and, new year, new me,
Yeah.
getting married. So I decided to start making granola. I made my first batch the other day. Going out tomorrow, I have a whole slew of ingredients, cranberries and nuts, and
Are you
what
gonna
else was I
be
making?
are you gonna be that lady that makes like healthy pet food out of granola and sells it?
Or human granola.
Yeah. I know
Also,
there was
we
a
were
lady in
doing.
my neighborhood who had bird food
Mm,
and dog food, like all just everything made out of granola.
hmm.
Just an idea.
Actually, one of my clients did give me some recipes for homemade dog food,
Hmm.
so I'm interested in that. So yeah, I've just been replacing the cravings, or I actually haven't really had any cravings. Maybe like once during the week, because usually by the midweek I'm like, oh, it's time for a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And this time I was like, oh, let's make smoothies instead. I've just been finding other things. I'm not
Yeah.
stocking up on it.
It's good. Yeah, I didn't give up alcohol. I have been dieting for the new year, and that's been going all right. Yesterday, I went to a holiday party with my girlfriend and had a pretty big dinner, but today I like went right back on track. So I'm proud of myself because that's the hard part. Every time you cheat, and then you're just like, well, fuck it. I already had a bag of chips. Might as well eat a pizza. No.
Yeah. No, it's important to acknowledge and get back on the horse and
Yeah.
ride the wave because life is ebb and flow.
Um,
So,
the social media. Oh, you had wanted to talk about semantics too, right?
oh yeah, only because let's use a
Because
10.
Brian
Let's
brought it.
well, I mean, let's face it. Everyone has. That's why I like the dictionary. It's like a clear cut definition.
Well, even in the dictionary, like, well, it's a chicken or egg problem, right? Because it's not like the dictionary defines words. It's people define words and then document it in dictionaries. So as words change, the dictionaries change. But yes, I generally like to believe that we're trying to use the dictionary definition as best we can when we're communicating. Um, but even then, it falls apart because any definition you read, the definition is just made up of more words.
Hmm.
So there's always going to be some room for interpretation. They can be like, oh, well, that implies blank. And if like my
I'm
favorite word
sorry, but
right now, what?
that's where John comes in because you would be like
Which
that
John?
person. You.
Oh, me. Okay. Where do I come in?
Well, in the sense where like if all right, can I give you an example since I'm a massage therapist and
Yeah.
this is very fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
When I say deep tissue massage,
Yeah.
what do you think that is?
I think that my body has skin and underneath the skin is tissue. And you're going deep into that tissue when
Okay.
you massage me. That's what I
That's
think.
okay, great. The dictionary says otherwise, and we're trained
What does it say?
otherwise. It says we're going into the tissue that's underlying in the body. So it's the tissue deep within the body. You're not
So it's
going.
like so the deep actually references a certain layer of the tissue. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So, but that's a common misconception. No big deal, right? Like,
Yeah.
but we're trained otherwise, So when we don't just say, "Oh, you're getting deep tissue. Let me start digging in." We talk about it, but that's one of the most important things. Is my whole semantics topic was based off of this because it's
Mm.
super important to be clear and concise. And it's like, so do now we change the definition because everyone has a common misconception? Or do we, you know what I'm saying? Or do we continue to keep educating and just keep trying to win this never ending
Yeah,
battle?
I
And
think
it's not
whatever.
just with that word
Mm.
or term, it's with a lot of different things. It's
Yeah.
like terms are just misused and people are misinformed.
Well, I think it's whatever's like generally most useful. And I'm finding that people tend to pick the definitions that are most useful for them, which makes sense. Sometimes it's political. Like the word racism now no longer means discrimination based on race. It means it's like discrimination times power. So therefore, if you don't have power, you can't be racist, you know? And it's just like, that's convenient if you have a certain worldview, but that's not how the word was ever used. And, you know, I get yelled at a lot for being semantic, as you've bore witness to, but I don't really care about the word. What bothers me about people using racism in that new way, that's fine. Use racism in the new way, but give me a word that I can use for the old way. They won't do it. They're like, no, like they just don't want that term to exist. And so in my view, they're being semantic in that they're manipulating words so that your brain doesn't get, like, there is now not a word just for discrimination based on race to these people. And as long as that's true, their brain never has to think about that.
It doesn't exist. Yeah.
Right. So now there's only this power dynamic. So if you are in a position of power and privilege, you can be racist, but nobody else can be. So in our country, white people and men and, you know, whoever's the majority in power. And that bothers me, not because of semantics. Well, I guess you can make a case for that, but it bothers me because the concepts are no longer easy to convey. So the word literally, you know how people now use the word literally to mean figuratively? Have you seen that?
Yeah, so much that they've forgotten about figuratively.
Yeah, like if you look up the definition literally, actually, let's do it right now. I'm going to Google it. You ready for this? Definition literal. So, well, literally. First definition, in a literal manner of sense. Exactly. So the driver took it literally when asked to go straight across the traffic circle. Great. The other one, used for emphasis or to express strong feeling while not being literally true. So it's like
they use the word in the definition.
Yes. So yeah, and I get it.
All right. So, but that's not the point.
Right. Go on. People do use the word literally. It's fine if you told me, for example, that you're such a good singer that your voice literally shocked the audience. I know what you mean because it's absurd. Like there's no way your voice literally shocked the audience, you know? But there are a lot of cases where people say literally and it's unclear if it's absurd or if it's true. And that
like when,
not because of the word, but because the concept, you know?
Like when people say, no, that's not a good example.
What?
When people say like,
well, you don't have to say it if you don't want.
Well, no, like the new kids, the young kids, they say like, oh, I'm dead, literally. And that means like something is so funny that like that they're dead and they're literally dead.
Right. Like the I'm dead part was clearly a metaphor, but then they add the word literally. Now you're confused. Well, not really,
because you know they're. But I'm just saying, it's just what is happening.
Yeah, but in those cases, it's funny. I've seen people use it in really ambiguous cases, but at least those are inconsequential. The racism one, I think, actually has psychological and sociological consequences. Well, you said you're a massage therapist, so I was getting a massage once, and I referenced my massage therapist as a masseuse, and she's like, we don't use that word. And I'm like, why? And like, that's what you are. And she's like, yeah, but we prefer massage therapist. Masseuse kind of has this connotation that, you know, we give happy endings. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'll call you a massage therapist. Is that true? Is that how it is in your industry?
Yeah, a lot of people don't like that.
But
I don't mind it because I know the person's doesn't have that intention behind saying masseuse, because I know they wouldn't be directly saying that to me.
But they're not technically wrong, are they?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I think what is a person that does massage? A masseuse, a massage therapist, a Thai yoga instructor. What else? What other terminology labels can you put on it? It
Yeah.
is what it is. You know, I know what
A
they
muscle
mean.
masher.
You know, I mean, if they're gonna say I do happy endings, then you're gonna call me a prostitute, not a masseuse. You
Right.
know, that
Yep.
would be different.
Yeah. No, yeah. But it was
So
interesting. And I think like massage therapist just sounds more professional, right? It's good. And
sure,
that's
it puts it adds the we get an associate's degree and a state license. Certain places you don't get a state license, you get a certification or whatever,
Mhm.
but you still put hard work and money
I
and
actually
knowledge behind it and time. So
I actually think so. George Carlin has a whole skit about that, how we took simple words and then we decided they were offensive. So we started adding more syllables.
oh, I love him.
Yeah. I wonder if he used massage therapist and masseuse because I think he did retarded. And he's like, what's wrong with retarded? He's like, no, now we have to say the mentally handicapped.
Oh yes, I
And it's like,
remember that one.
yeah.
I don't know if
So
you.
even like, yeah, massage therapist. It's a lot of syllables to say. Such a simple concept. Um, but yeah, no, that topic really interests me. And I get why people think, if anything, they have a better case that I'm being pedantic more than semantic, but
Definition, please.
just like nitpicky.
Mm.
Um, but so they might be right that I'm being nitpicky, but I am being nitpicky about concepts. I don't really care what words we use; those are just variables. That's like, you know, um, like in math, right? You have your x and a y. Like x could be the number two in one equation. What you disappeared, by the way. Oh, there you go. I just think of words like that, and actually, words are memes. You know memes, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like on the
The
internet
pic.
these things you share, but the meme itself kind of takes on its own meaning, right? Like Pepe the Frog has become this. Apparently, people think it's like a racist thing, even though it's just a cartoon of Pepe the Frog.
No,
Yeah, you're making a face like.
I don't know
Um,
who that is.
uh,
Apparently, I'm the only one who doesn't know who that is.
what memes do you know?
I don't know. I would know them if I saw them.
You ever see the Success Kid, the little kid who's like, yes,
Yes.
yeah.
I didn't know they had names. The Success Kid.
Oh yeah, they have Success Kid. There's Overly Attached Girlfriend. That's a meme.
Oh, I like the one where the guy is walking with his girlfriend and then he looks back at the other one.
Yes, that's what do they call that?
Yeah, you don't even know that
I
one.
don't know the name of that one. You're right. You're right. But but it's funny because without even reading the joke, you know the structure of the joke before you read it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that imagery has become something that you can just look at, and there's a lot of context to it that's just assumed. And I realize that words are the same way. Like you look at the word literally, and you kind of have, we can go through like an English definition of what the word literally means, but more than likely you just have that word being used in context in like a million different ways in your head, and like that's what the word means now, right? So I really think that words are memes. They are.
You're right. They are
Yeah. Like symbols are memes. Like, are you wearing? No, that's your headphones, right?
headphones
Okay.
and
You're not wearing a cross, but like on a cross. If you never knew anything about Christianity and you just showed up in America or any Christian, like any area that was largely Christian.
good. Yeah, it could be.
Hello. He's on camera.
You're on the live stream now. You can say hi.
You got to go.
No,
What?
nothing. I'm talking.
Go ahead.
Okay, bye. You can't hear anything. It's in my headphones.
Send him the link to the, not to
I'll
the,
send. You want me to send you the link? Okay.
that's funny. I don't think he realizes he's in the camera frame.
You're in the camera frame, babe. Can you close the door? Can you close the door? You come in then.
No, the game's on. Go ahead. Come in here.
Okay.
He's just watching you.
Okay.
What were we talking about?
I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
The live.
Memes.
See,
And
now,
symbols
okay.
and the cross. If you
Okay,
said
so
that,
yeah, let's finish that thought, and then I'll go to what Brian just said. But yeah, so if you like didn't live in America or didn't live anywhere where there were Christians, and you just like showed up here and you saw people wearing a cross on their neck, you wouldn't know what that is at all.
could mean Satan.
Could mean literally anything.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, that was the right.
You didn't use it right.
Yeah, I did. It can literally mean anything. That's right.
Exactly mean anything. Yeah.
It can literally. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean it figuratively.
I usually just change the word that I'm using with the definition of it to make sure that I'm using it right.
Yeah. But yeah, it can literally mean anything. And if I started explaining it to you, if you were like looking at it and you're like, is that a man like on a cross? Be like, oh yeah, he's dead and he's hammered to the cross. You'd be like, you're psychotic. Why do you wear a dead man on your neck? You know, that would be
what? Can you stop? Go away. There's nothing there.
That's
okay.
hilarious.
Go away. Like it's like my little brother.
You would think, like they would think you were psychotic if you tried explaining to them why you have a man hammered to a cross, dipped in gold, hanging on your neck, right? And it's like some people need a lot of context to understand.
What? All right, go away. I knew this would happen.
This is hilarious. I can't edit that out yet.
So I told you that this is a problem. This is a problem because he's not getting the attention.
Oh, so it's projection in your view. But yeah, so yeah.
Goodbye. Close the door.
Now he's keeping it wide open.
Yeah. Like I'm a child. I'm not being secretive. We're talking about memes and symbols. I could send you the link if you want to be in here. Go away. Dad.
You called him your brother, now your dad. This is a weird family you got. But yeah. My point being
Keep the fucking door open.
Oh my God. Okay, I think we have to end.
All right.
I'm sorry. Okay.
You'll have to tell me about that later.
Okay, I will.
Well, Brian and Adam are chatting up in the chat.
Great. Hi, Adam.
Yeah, and Adam just made fun of me for still having my tree up, which is a nice tree.
That was the first thing I did too.
I didn't take it. You took it down already?
Yeah, on January 1st.
Oh, I gotta hurry. I gotta do it. It's a fake tree, so I gotta like store it away. It's a lot of work. But Brian pointed out that this live stream, he's being sarcastic, and he said, "Oh yeah, that live stream that doesn't count as social media." I don't think it really does. Well, I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, it's social and it's media, but I don't think of it as like. Actually, that's interesting because I see Facebook and Twitter and all of these places as a place to do what you and I are doing right now, but nobody, like YouTube. Most people don't. But most people don't use it that way, right? So I guess if everybody used Facebook for like dialogue and conversation, I probably wouldn't see it as whatever it is that I'm trying to avoid for the month of January. I wouldn't go and avoid Twitter if Twitter was actually like this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I will grant you this, Brian. It's you're being semantic. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is there is a concept, and we gotta come up with a word for it. How about that? Help me come up with a word.
But this is not. We're not using our video to be able to engage. We're just having a conversation and allowing others to join in if they feel that they need to or want to.
Right. Well, and that's what
that's their choice to watch our conversation, and they're using social media right now, not you and I.
Well, and that's kind of what I want to encourage. So something I really want to do moving forward is I want to encourage people to have one-on-one conversations online with an audience, because I think it works so much better when there's, so I don't remember who put it this way, but they said conversations are best between two people. They're a little worse with three. They're really bad with four. And then, look at Twitter. Twitter, it's like you send out a tweet. It's like a text message to the world, and you have 1 million people trying to have a conversation.
Without emotion.
Well, yeah, without emotion. They try adding reactions. By the way, do you use reactions on Facebook?
I used to.
Like the love and the...
No, I don't. Unless it's something. I use the love a lot more.
I think it is.
I use the love one, yeah.
I hate it. I think it is so passive aggressive, and or it's got this very Me Too vibe to it.
That happened to me once.
What?
I was so mad about something because someone wrote "ha ha" on a comment. Like I was like, it was something that I was upset about, and they wrote "ha ha," and I thought it was like on purpose towards me. But then I realized after the fact that I deleted this person. I deleted them.
Wow.
I unfriended them, or whatever I did.
And, but what? Maybe they thought something was funny.
Yeah, at my expense.
Right. So, well, yeah.
So at that certain day, it annoyed me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm." But that it was that ha ha comment that triggered me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Why are they laughing? Like, it's not funny."
Yeah. Well, no, and it's interesting. Like, I will be in like a back and forth for a little while on Facebook with one person, but people will you'll see like 3 people like or love my comment, but then not the other person's. And it gives you this sense of like, I'm winning. Mm-hmm. But then sometimes it happens the other way where like, I'll be in a back and forth, and then the only reaction I get on my comment is a laugh. But then the person I'm talking to gets like a heart. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And then it gets even worse because like, if like your best friend or your partner, if your fiance or your girlfriend or whatever, if you see them like the comment that the person you're engaging with said, but they don't like yours, you're like, well, what the fuck's that about? Why are they picking their side? And it's just, it's crazy. So I think like, I want to remove all of that. And I just want to have this conversation. And then if we want feedback, we can look to the chat. You know what I mean?
I actually do that sometimes when I'm just, I don't know, I guess observing comments on certain feeds. I'll like the people's comments that I agree with and not the other person's. So I'll like the comment. Like say you and Brian were having a conversation like on a thread. You guys were bantering back and forth. I agreed with you, which I probably would. I would just like your comments instead of Brian's.
See, I like this because now we don't have to be passive aggressive. We can be aggressive aggressive. Yeah. But and then that sucks because then if you're me, you get a heightened sense of, you're like, oh, cool, I'm winning. But then if you're Brian, you're like, why is that bitch only liking his stuff,
Well, maybe it'll make him think about where he stands so far.
Right. But see, I think, well, we can get into the whole feminine masculine thing, but I do think that's more of like, it's not how guys typically go about things, So when you see people chiming in and being supportive over here and kind of aggressive over here, and they're doing it passively, it feels like, I think for guys, you kind of, I'll speak for myself. I feel at a disadvantage because when it's just a group of guys, like say you're at a bar and you and somebody's arguing, and then a third guy tries to chime in, you can literally just turn around and be like, mind your fucking business. Right. And that's it. And then you and the other person just kind of dish it out.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Actually, I've had situations like that with Brian where me and Brian will, and I love this about Brian, when we're in person, we're blunt and we just go back and forth and back and forth. And there was a time where we had a third person, it was a guy though, and he was moderating. Oh my God, it drove me up a wall. It's like, no, I need that like just head-on conversation. And the way social media is structured, you just can't have it at all. So, so I don't want to say that like there's no place for this group, kind of creating a cohesion and figuring out who's right through the collective. Sure. But where's the place online to do what you and I are doing right now, which is this conversation is just between you and me and everything else is kind of secondary. I don't see it anywhere. So I want your opinion if you can. Do you still have to go, or do you think you can stay?
No.
Okay, good. Here's an idea that I've been working on. I really want to make this come to life. I want to create a comment system. If you go on Reddit or any forum or whatever, or Twitter, Facebook, it's like everybody's in the conversation, right? Imagine if you had the option on Reddit. Are you on Reddit? Do you use their comment system at all?
No.
Have you ever used a comment system that just infinitely, like,
Yes.
you can keep replying to people and it's just like a cluster?
Yes.
It's organized, but it's crazy.
HQ has it like that. So.
Who does?
HQ. You ever play that game?
Yeah, I played HQ. You can reply to comments and then reply to those comments.
Oh.
You get what I'm saying? It's like nested. It's like if I reply to your comment, it goes one level deep. But then if somebody replies to mine, it's 2 levels deep.
I gotcha.
I want a button so that when you hit it, it says start a dialogue with this person. So what it'll do is it'll hit and it'll create a thread. But in that thread is only me and that person. Nobody else is allowed in that thread at all. And maybe until it's done. Like so phase 1 is just start a dialogue. And then the only people allowed to talk are me and you. So now if I go in, other people can see it, but if they go to this dialogue, they see a conversation between you and me. That's it. And it's now when I'm saying cohesive, I just mean that it's like really easy to follow in that sense, right?
Oh my God.
Done. And if they want, now say you and I are having a conversation and you're like, hey, I don't really like what you said about blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, let me clear it up. And I clear it up. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I get what you're saying. I don't fully agree, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. And then we go back and forth, right? And there's a comment in there that Brian wants to then start a conversation with me about. He could then take that comment and say, start a dialogue. Boop. And then that will create a thread. But again, in that thread, it's just me and Brian.
Wow.
I consider that more of like, I honestly consider that a more ordered way of having dialogue, having conversation. I said dialogue, but that's kind of in the definition. And I don't see that anywhere on the internet. The only way to talk on social media is a really chaotic way. And a very collective way.
Wow, you're right. An example, this town Facebook group where anyone can post. Yeah, it's controlled, but by one person. It's like a dictatorship group, and it's controlled by one person, and she can decide what she doesn't like, and she could take it down. And people just post whatever they want, and then the comments are just atrocious. People, just that doesn't end ever.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's super chaotic, and there's no order. People aren't. That almost keeps people like accountable. Like you're not going to start a conversation. You're not going to. It's going to be more. I feel like the quality will be there. Yeah. It won't be. I think
it's
you're
kind of like
something.
A public DM.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're more accountable. I feel too.
Yeah, and I think it'll also, I'll use the word trigger. It'll trigger people less, because you'll see Facebook conversations or disagreements. They'll start 2 people going back and forth, and then very quickly, at least in my experience, if I'm going back and forth too much with like a feminist, right? All of a sudden, her whole flock of friends are in there telling me to get the fuck out. You're not wanted. Like, obviously you're wrong. Like, John, if 5 people are telling you you're wrong, you should consider that you're wrong. And it's like, that's not how it works. But this is the way they function.
This happens all the time to people.
Yeah.
I feel like if people had a way to just talk, and people could either watch the conversation or choose to not. And I guess they could, let's say a feminist was reading a conversation you were having about feminism and how whatever, and she decided to then start a dialogue with you about a specific something you said. I guess she would have to reference it and then start a dialogue based off of that, and then she could be like, you know what, John, I don't like you and I don't agree with this, and then people could watch that conversation. Am I right?
Yeah, your video cut out. Yeah, they could watch that. And like what's really interesting, I sometimes will make a Facebook post, and I could write, you've probably seen some of my really long Facebook posts because I'm really just fleshing out a thought. Have you ever seen?
Yes.
And then, now it's like, now most of my liberal friends who like, if it's a political thing and it's like, God, words, it's not really political, but the point is, if it bothers my more liberal friends, they've either unfollowed me or unfriended me, like pretty much all of them. But let's rewind a year. I would post a long Facebook post like that, and it would become really contentious in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would literally copy and paste that Facebook post to like a Medium post. So Medium is just a blogging platform.
Yeah.
But that's like a publication. It's like you publish an essay, right? And then the people who disagree with you there are really polite. And my theory is that it feels more like a one-on-one conversation when you're going to someone's blog. Because when you go to someone's blog, it's like you're talking to them. You're not talking to everybody. Where when you post on Facebook, even if you post on my status, it doesn't feel like you're talking to me. It feels like you're talking to your friends through my wall. So what I mean is I've posted things and I've had people comment and literally say, I can't let this go unchallenged. And it's like, fair enough, but are you doing that because you want to have a dialogue with me, or are you doing that to signal to everyone else that you're on the right side of history or whatever? Right?
I like this. I like the fact that you're taking the background noise away.
Yeah, I like the term background. Yeah, removes the background noise. And so phase 2, I thought, is imagine that same comment system. We have a dialogue. And then at the end of it, one of the options, instead of sending a message, I can say I'm done with the dialogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you also say okay, so basically I'd have a check mark, and then you could ask me to come back. You'd be like, hey, come back, But if you also say I'm done, that dialogue gets finalized. So now that word doesn't sound like a word anymore, dialogue. I said it too many times. But that dialogue, it's now finalized. It can't be changed, right? It's there. And you could actually share that anywhere you want. And you have like a conversation saved on the internet forever if you want. And I think that would be awesome.
All right. Can you stop saying this now, please?
Well, I want to.
You know what's
crazy?
crazy?
If I do build it, you can beta test.
Do you know what's crazy? I was making dinner before. I'm like, John's going to come up with some brilliant idea on this freaking live chat. I know it. I'm like, he's going to pitch it to me. And you did. And it's so weird. Because when you're like, all right, I want you to tell me what you think. I'm like, great. Here it comes.
So you like it, I take it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would use it.
Yeah. And I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, so either I'm onto something and maybe I should build this and maybe I'll be the guy who builds this thing that lets people have dialogues on social media, or just on the internet. Mm-hmm. Like maybe I'm really onto something, or it's just batshit crazy and that's why it doesn't exist. But my theory is that, and I know to some people this sounds crazy, but I think that our world, like everything from university to the workplace to social media to just outside, like you can't even send your kids outside to play because God forbid you let your kid explore the outdoors on their own. You're a negligent parent. It's like, no, you're not. You want to teach your kid how to survive on their own.
I'm being a attentive parent by doing that. Yeah,
but I think that it's like everything's been feminized is my point. And it's like anything that you could even regard as typically like a masculine way of going about things is being stripped, and there's like no place for it anywhere. So I honestly do wonder if I try to create this system that allows you to have one-on-one conversations, anywhere on the internet, because this could be done in a way that's agnostic to any one website, right? Like you said, you said you'd have to reference the thing that you're talking about, right?
Right.
So basically, we could just, hey, if it has a URL, you can have a conversation about it. And that's pretty big because then you could do that about anything on the internet, right?
Yeah.
But I do wonder if I build this, what kind of pushback I'd get. And I don't think that pushback is intentional. I don't think people are consciously like doing this. I think that right now there's just this trend of collectivism and cohesiveness and basically all things feminine. And they're not going to like it if I push back.
We have to hit feminine rock bottom first.
What's that mean?
I think it has to get worse before it gets better.
Oh God.
So I feel like you have to start this now, and then it'll be hitting the high when feminism hits the low.
Maybe. I mean, we're seeing a lot of pushback now, right? Like, there's a lot. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with all the drama on Twitter, but there are people getting banned off Twitter and Patreon and all this stuff because they said things that aren't illegal, but the people on these sites think it's like bad manners. Well, they call it hate speech, right?
Oh God.
And then they ban you because you said something that they regard as hate speech somewhere on the internet.
I saw that one thing that you posted.
Yeah. So then, and they'll say things ironically, like, well, if you don't like it, go create your own Twitter. But God forbid you tell them if you don't like it, leave the country. But that's a whole other story. But so this guy goes and he makes this website called Gab, Gab.ai, Gab.ai. And his rules are you can say whatever you want here. You just can't break the law. That's it, which I think is pretty fair. And you have companies working together to like take this site down. They do not want this site to exist because they think it perpetuates what they regard as hate speech, even though hate speech isn't illegal. So
2 more minutes.
Oh,
2-minute warning.
Is your phone battery low?
No, I just have to.
You have to go.
Yeah, it's like 9. Yeah. It's later than I anticipated.
No, it's cool. If you got to go, just go.
I'm just ancient,
Yeah. No, I like the conversation.
I know. Me too.
And it's funny because had we been on social media, we probably wouldn't have done it.
True.
Yeah.
That's what I keep saying. We're learning more things about, this is quality to me. This is like, okay, maybe I can build an everlasting couple of relationships with people that I never would have before. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but I could have, that's just quality over quantity. That's exactly what that is. And you wouldn't have had that before, but this can be more beneficial to all of us, all 6 of us, if we have 3 different, imagine the possibilities then. So it's
what if we had 3 different conversations one-on-one?
Like, all right. So you, me, and Brian have gotten to talk more in the last week than we ever would have in 7 years of being Facebook friends.
That's true.
And we could possibly benefit probably more from it. In how many ways? You bring up a conversation, and next thing you know, you're having coffee and discussing plans to open up a business or something. Now you're on your way to making, an extra $100,000 a year because you quit social media.
Somebody thinks that your pants needs to be pulled up. I don't know if they're just seeing things, but because your mirror's behind you.
Oh, nice. I didn't even feel that.
I don't know if they actually
Who said that?
I don't know.
Can they see behind me?
Well, there's a mirror behind you. I don't know who Devin Knox is, but hi. Do I know Devin? Hi, Devin.
Hi, Devin. Thanks for the.
Whoa, there's 2 people that just joined that I don't think I know.
Oh my God! It's because of the butt crack.
Yes, your butt crack brings all the boys to the yard.
Oh my God!
So, New Kid said, "Is that just another excuse for an alt-right safe haven?" What do you mean? Because there's a delay in the audio in the video stream. So if you're going to reference something, I don't remember what I was saying that made you ask that question. But yeah, that's kind of the thing. It's like people think that Gab is like an alt-right safe haven. And it's like, well, it kind of is, but it's a everybody safe haven because as long as you don't break the law, you're allowed to go there, And people do not like that for some reason. So I think I'm going to get a lot of pushback if I build this. But maybe that's fine.
Oh my God, John.
What? What are you laughing at me for?
Just the whole idea. You would get a lot of pushback, but I'll be right there next to you, supporting you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you'll be one of my beta testers. Actually, that'll be fun. Me, you, and Brian should use it, and then you guys can have a conversation. Like just without. I mean, I could see it.
We can do it within our own little realm first, and you add on people, and we could,
Oh, just to like fake it, like test it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Dan's here too. Wow, a lot of people are popping up. Dan, I was telling you about the conversation comment thing. Yeah, I kind of fleshed it out here. We should probably work on it. Dan would be a good guy to work with on it.
Good. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan. Well, I know you said you have to go. I don't want to be the one keeping you. But
all right.
Thanks for the conversation.
I know. Let's do it again.
Now on my channel, it's gonna be a part of history.
Never go away, just like our future dialogues.
Yes. Yes. Anyway, we're on day 7 of our social media hiatus. Maybe we'll have more vacation. You don't like it? Why don't you like hiatus?
I just don't like the word.
It's just like a harsh word.
Hiatus. It's like.
Well, when you say it like that.
I was singing and dancing in my living room the other day. I was like, whoa, I'm like, I could never do this if I was on Facebook right now. Like, I felt like I was on vacation. Liberating.
That's good.
Freeing.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep documenting. Well, I don't know if you will, but I will be. But thanks again. And I'm going to hang up.
Thanks for talking.
Yeah, of course.
Have a lovely evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.